पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौरभक्तवृंद हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे मूकं करोति वाचालं पंगुं लंघयते गिरिं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे श्रीगुरुं दीनतारणं. Hare Krishna. Do we have any questions, any points for discussion today? Yes, please. Yeah.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Yes, Mata.
So I wanted to know what is akarma.
What is akarma? Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, Kim karmeti, kim akarmeti. What is karma, what is akarma, we should know. Generally, in today's world, we get confused with what is karma. We get to hear all sorts of things. Like we hear that work is worship. If I do my duty very nicely, then that is real karma. I may be working in a slaughterhouse, or in a distillery, in a beer factory, or in a tobacco manufacturing company. I should do my work very sincerely. That's called karma. And that's how people interpret karmanyevadikaraste ma phaleshu chana, very oft quoted words of the Bhagavad Gita. So they think that is the essence of the Bhagavad Gita, and we should all perform our duties very nicely. And the whole emphasis on in the Bhagavad Gita is on duty. That is how people misinterpret. Srila Prabhupada. Actually, what is happening is that because we have got cut off from our own culture, the Vedic culture, we have ourselves forgotten what is the meaning of karma and what is the meaning of akarma, what is the meaning of vikarma. There are three things: karma, vikarma and akarma. So Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita that for a person who wants to progress on the spiritual path, one must understand all these three. So if we have to understand akarma, first we have to understand what is karma and vikarma clearly. Otherwise we cannot understand any of them properly. So in the varnashrama system, there is a clear distinction made between vritti and karma. Vritti is different, karma is different. Vritti means one's livelihood. Whatever one is doing to earn money to keep one's body and soul together is called vritti. So in vritti, I may have I may engage in any vritti. I may be a carpenter, or I may be a cobbler, or I may be an engineer, or I may be a lawyer. These are all vrittis. These are all occupations which we engage in for our livelihood. These are sources of livelihood. So we confuse vritti for karma. We confuse our sources of livelihood for karma or duty. Duty is different, livelihood is different. This is what the Vedas very clearly they distinguish between these two. Modern day, they confuse the livelihood with the duties. So in livelihood also, in earning one's livelihood also, there are certain duties that one has to follow. That's a different matter. But when we speak of karma, karma refers to duties which one has to perform, which one is obliged to perform, which one cannot escape from. Vritti, when I am engaged in a particular occupation, today I may have a certain occupation. I may be engaged in, let us say, trade. I may be engaged in some sort of business. I may be engaged in paper business. Tomorrow I change my vritti, I change my occupation, my livelihood, and I take up a job as a lawyer. And then after that I change that and give that up and become a contractor. I can do all that. So vritti I can change at my will. Or tomorrow I feel fed up. I say I don't want to engage in any job. Forget it. Close all the jobs. I got some earning. Put that money in the bank, and from that interest I will survive. I'm retired now. So vritti is something which is optional for you. You may perform it. You may not perform it. You may choose a vritti, an occupation of your liking. All these things are there because it is not obligatory. Whereas when it comes to karma, it is obligatory. Nobody can escape it. Nobody can say, I have now given up my karma. You cannot do that. You understand? So karma is obligatory. Obligatory for a person living in the society. Why? Because although for my livelihood I may do anything, I may do any sort of activity to earn my livelihood. But then, whether I am engaged in any sort of livelihood or not, there are so many facilities provided to me in material nature. The sunshine is there, the moonshine is there, the rains are coming on time, etc., etc. There are so many things without which we cannot survive. So all these things are freely provided to us in nature. So karma, what karma dictates is that we have a duty to perform towards those higher arrangements made in material nature for us to be able to exist and survive. Whether I may have an occupation, I may not have an occupation. I may not even have a job, but still I can survive. But suppose tomorrow the oxygen supply is cut off in this world. What will happen? You cannot survive. Suppose the sun stops rising. Can we survive? We cannot survive. So these are all essential things without which our existence itself becomes questionable. So the karma is obligatory because those duties which we have to perform, which we are obligated to perform because our existence, our survival is dependent on that. So there are many duties which are enjoined in the scriptures. There are three different kinds of duties which are enjoined. One is naimittika karma. Another is, the naimittika karma means the duties which you have to perform every day without fail. That is means it's your nitya karma, not naimittika karma, nitya karma. Nitya karma means it is constantly have to engage in. So it is said, for example, in the Shastras, that a grihastha has to perform panchasuna yajna, 5 kinds of sacrifices. Because there are so many living entities that a person will kill in the course of his carrying out his daily activities. When drinking water, some microbes are killed. While walking on the ground, some insects, some ants get killed. While breathing, some insects and ants and microbes get killed. So in all our activities, there are some living entities or the other who are getting killed. So therefore, Panchasuna Yajna has to be performed by a grihastha in order to become free from all such inadvertent sinful activities. Then there are various yajnas that a person has to perform to express one's gratitude to all the devatas for providing all the facilities in material nature. So these all constitute nitya karma, constant, these are duties which you have to perform all the time. Then there are naimittika karma or duties which have to be performed on certain occasions. Like for example, there is Shraddha. Shraddha you cannot do all through the year. Shraddha, there is a certain Shraddha month, there is a certain, there is a certain constellation of the stars under which when that happens, you go and do Shraddha for your forefathers. You are not expected to do that every day. It is once in a while. Or some festival, like Janmashtami comes, we have to observe fasting and then we have to observe a festival and all that. So it is once in a while. Ekadashi we have to observe once in a fortnight. These are all naimittika. Once in a while these things happen. And then the third kind of karma is for fulfilling certain desires of mine. I have a desire, I want to get some wealth, or I want good health, so I perform some yajna to please Surya Deva, or a woman wants, she is of marriageable age and she wants a good husband, so she worships Uma Devi, all those kind of, or Lord Shiva. And a man wants to marry a beautiful woman, so he worships Uma Devi, Parvati Devi. So these are all karmas or duties which are prescribed for fulfilling certain desires. So these are the three kinds of karmas that are prescribed in the Shastras. So this is called karma. Now, whenever I perform any karma, what happens is, I am performing that karma according to the rules of the Vedas. My Nitya karma, my Naimittika karma, and whatever my desired karma is there. So what happens is, by doing those karmas, I am accumulating punya. I am accumulating pious reactions, so that in the future, in my future births, I will be able to enjoy the results. I will be able to enjoy happiness. So a little bit of austerity, tapasya, sacrifice I do in this life, it ensures that in the future also I will enjoy, and this life also, by performing those yajnas and karmas, in this life also I can enjoy. This is the arrangement given in the Shastras. Now what happens is, when I do not perform those duties, nitya karmas, naimittika karmas, etc., I do not perform them, and I go on enjoying the facilities provided for me by material nature, what happens is, I engage in something known as vikarma. Vikarma is the opposite of karma. I don't do my duty. I am shirking my duty. I am supposed to perform some sacrifices. I am supposed to perform dana, charity. I am supposed to undergo certain tapasya, austerities. I do not do all these things which are prescribed in the Vedas. I go against the rules and regulations of the Vedas. Then that activity is called vikarma. When I fail to perform my karmas, then what happens? I will acquire papa karma. I will acquire sinful reaction. And when I do activities which are against the injunctions, one is neglecting to perform my duty. Second is going against, doing things which are against the prescribed duties. Both these things, they result in papa karma. They result in accumulating sinful reactions. So the vikarma is the activity that a person engages in, which is against the enjoined rules and regulations which are enjoined in the Vedas. So karma means performing our duties which we are obliged to perform according to the Shastras. Vritti is different. We are not talking about occupation. And vikarma means when I do activities which are against the prescribed rules and regulations given in the Shastras. So if I do my karmas nicely, I will get pious credits. These are like you put money into your account. So that gives you spending power. Tomorrow you want to go to a good restaurant and eat good food. You got money in your account, you can do that. You want to buy a car so that you don't have to hang in the bus and the public transport and go, or take an auto and go. You want your own private transport. You have money in the account, you can buy a car. So these are all. So punya karma is like that. Now what is papa karma? Papa karma is like all the money that you have to pay towards your credit card, whatever you have spent. If you don't pay that, what is going to happen? There are people going to come behind you and they are going to harass you, whether it is from the bank or whoever has given you the credit card. So papa karma is like that. It's a negative bank balance. You have to suffer for the reactions of the vikarmas that you have done. These two constitute karma and vikarma. Now what happens is, the karma and vikarma are accumulated since many, many lifetimes. So we have a mountain of reactions waiting for us. Some are good reactions, some are the reactions which will give us suffering. Punya karma and papa karma, these have got piled up like a huge mountain. Now which karma will act in our life when, we cannot say. But then ultimately I am bound to either enjoy the results of my punya karma or suffer the results of my papa karma. This I have to undergo. May not be today, may not be tomorrow, sometime in the future or the other, I have to undergo. So what happens is, when I accumulate punya or papa, either of them, I am obliged to take repeated birth and death in this material world. According to the punya I have gained, suppose I have gained the punya that I have to enjoy in Swarga. Now in this lifetime, I am born as a human being. I cannot go in this body to Swargaloka. So what happens is, next I have to take a birth in Swargaloka as a Devata so that I can enjoy that result. And suppose I have done some very grievous sinful activity, because of which I have to suffer as some animal or as some insect, then that I cannot undergo that suffering in this lifetime. So what happens? I have to take another birth as an insect or whatever to undergo that suffering. So in effect, what it means is, whenever we do karma or vikarma, we are creating a future birth for us. And as Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, Jatasya dhruvo mrityur janma mritasya cha. Once I have taken birth in a particular body, my death is also ascertained. So the moment you take birth, along with it, it also brings, it's not just birth in a particular body or in a particular species, along with that also comes old age, disease and death. So this is an, you cannot uncouple these. All these things are coupled together with birth. So we have to go on taking birth and death within this material world and undergoing different types of happiness and suffering within this material world according to the punya and the papa that we have done, according to the karma and vikarma that we have done. Now this kind of cycle of repeated birth and death is actually very distressing, because no one wants to be in a situation where everything is temporary or fluid. When we get into a job, what do we see? The appointment letter. Okay, what does the appointment letter? Appointment letter says that you are appointed as so-and-so engineer in so-and-so company, but the condition is any moment we may throw you out of this company. So will you join that company? You will say, Arre Baba, I don't want this job. So you will see, okay, the company has put a policy that if at all we have to remove you, then we'll remove you under this condition and we'll give you 2 months notice. Then you will say, okay, some stability is there. And if some company says we'll never remove you, then though everybody will run to that company. Nobody will want to go to any other company. Why? Because that's our nature. We want stability. We want to be in a situation where there is no uncertainty about the future. But then this whole material world is, whenever we take birth in any living form, we are subjecting ourselves to a condition of temporariness, not a permanence. Because every life form that you take, you have to die someday or the other. So as long as we keep taking birth, we have to die also, and this cycle goes on. So naturally, an intelligent person will question, what is the use of my performing karma or vikarma? Because both of them are binding me to this material world of repeated birth and death, to this bhavasagara. What is the use? I don't want to be in this kind of situation. I want a situation where permanently I can live, no old age, no disease, no death. Is such a thing possible? Yes, it is possible. When we go to the spiritual world, when we go to Vaikuntha, when we go to Goloka Vrindavan, there is no birth, death, disease or old age. So this is the assurance given by Krishna in the Bhagavad Gita. Now the question comes, okay, to such a situation is very wonderful. Who would not like to be in a situation where you are constantly in fresh youth? You don't have to undergo, you don't need to go and do your blood checkup every other day, and then there is some COVID attacking, you have to wear your mask, and you don't have any of those things. There is no disease. You are not going to grow old. So you are not going to die. So who would not like to go to such a place? So, but then if you want to go to such a place, then what to do? Question is, what should I do to go to this place? Just like so many people like to go to America. Why? Because the facilities are much better there than in India. So what do? When we grow up, I remember when I was in college, when we were in engineering college, all these students, we would all sit together and we would discuss. All the intelligent students, they would all say, I have to get out of here and I have to go to America. And another friend of mine used to say, I want to go to Australia. I got a lot of relatives there. So then we would all start discussing how to go there. And this guy will start saying, you have to write GRE, you have to write GMAT. Now, how to do that? There is a certain preparation, there is a certain coaching class, you do this, then you can improve your GRE scores. Then for you to get into MIT or Oxford, all becomes easy. And then once you get there, you get a job, then you apply for a work visa, and then finally, after a certain number of years, you can ask for a, I don't know, green card or something like that. All those kind of things. So there is a step-by-step thing. How to work towards getting permanent residency in the United States. So it is a very aspirable thing for people in the third world countries. Why? Because the facilities, the standard of living are much better there. So to be able to go there, you cannot just go and land there. You cannot just buy a ticket and land there. Yeah, there is a, you have to work towards, there is a lot of hard work required to reach there. Similarly, if you want to go to the spiritual world where there is no birth, no death, no disease, and no old age, you can constantly be in happiness, always in happiness, there is no distress at all. Then, how to go there? For that, there are certain things that you have to do. And what are those activities? Those activities which are going to take you back to Godhead, which are going to liberate you from this cycle of, again and again, taking birth and death within this material world. Those activities which are going to free you from the reactions of both karma and vikarma, both papa karma and punya karma, such activities are called akarma. Why is it called akarma? Because it's not producing either punya karma or papa karma. It is neither producing pious reactions, nor is it producing sinful reactions. On the other, but any activity has to produce some result, right? No activity you can perform where there is no result. There has to be some result. The result of this is that you go back to Godhead. You become liberated from this cycle of happiness and distress, undergoing happiness and distress within many, many births, repeated births within this material world. So therefore, because it nullifies papa and punya within this material world, such activities are called akarma. They do not produce any reaction within this material world. But they do produce a reaction. What is the reaction? They take you back to Godhead. And what are those activities which constitute akarma? Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Chanting the holy names of the Lord Krishna and rendering devotional service to him is called akarma because it is higher than either punya or papa. It will liberate you from both punya and papa. So therefore, it is called akarma, and bhakti yoga is the process of engaging us in akarma. All the activities that Prabhupada has told us, chanting 16 malas of Hare Krishna mantra, attending Mangalarati, Darshanarati, Guru Puja, hearing Srimad Bhagavatam, reading Bhagavad Gita, following Ekadashi, and engaging in Sankirtan, observing various festivals like Gaur Purnima, which is coming now on 18th of March, and Janmashtami, etc. All these activities are actually akarma. When you spend your time reading a newspaper or a magazine, what is happening is you are acquiring either papa or punya according to the news you are reading. But if you are reading the same time you spend in reading Bhagavad Gita, what is happening? You are stepping towards going back to Godhead. You are climbing that ladder of going back to Godhead. So therefore, reading Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam, this is all akarma. Chanting Hare Krishna mantra is akarma. So we engage in devotional service. We follow the instructions of Srila Prabhupada. That is, all those activities which are according to the instructions of Srila Prabhupada constitute akarma. Is that okay?
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Any other question anybody has? Yes, please. Can you pass on the mic, please?
So when Krishna says, Krushi Goraksha Vanikya Vaishya Karma Samavachaha, like there he says karma. Is it vritti? I didn't understand.
So it is like this. Krishi, Goraksha, Vanijya, these are all the activities which a Vaishya can engage in. So there are karmas for a Vaishya, for a Kshatriya, for a Brahmana, and for a Shudra. So, whatever are ordained for that respective, for that respective Varna, he has to perform, he is obliged to perform. So, Krishi, Goraksha, Vanijya, these are the activities which are prescribed for a Vaishya. For a Kshatriya, it is ruling over the citizens, protecting them, etc. So, for a Brahmana, it is engaged in Vedic study. So, these activities actually, like I mentioned, in a Vritti also there are karmas to be performed. So, for a Vaishya has to have a certain livelihood. Now, in that livelihood, he cannot go and take up a job, take up a business of slaughtering cows and selling beef. He cannot do that. So, there are certain, certain karmas or duties even within that vritti. So, for a Vaishya, he has to engage in business. His vritti is to engage in business. Now, what are the businesses that he can perform? He can do Krishi, he can do Gorakshya, he can do Vanijya. So, these are the things which are ordained for him. He can choose any one of these. A Vaishya may be engaged in agriculture, or some other Vaishya may be having a big Goshala, or another Vaishya may be engaged in simply trade. So, that is your choice. But I decide that I want to do trade and I start trading in the, some meat. That's not allowed. So, even within my vritti also there are certain karmas, there are certain duties to be followed. So, that's how we have to understand that. So, those are within my occupation, within my livelihood also, certain things I can do, certain things I cannot do. So, when Krishna says that Krishi Goraksha Vanijyam Vaishya Karma Svabhavajam, so there when Krishna is using that word karma, it is referring to the activities which he performs within that vritti. Because the word karma has multiple meanings. Karma can refer to duties. When when Krishna is saying kim karma karmayati, there we have to understand Krishna is referring to the duties that he is obliged to perform. When Krishna is talking about Vaishya Karma Svabhavajam, means the activities. Karma also means any activity that you do is also a karma. I am eating food, that is also a karma. I am drinking water, that's also a karma. I am engaged in some business, that's also a karma. So, activity per se is also called karma. So, when Krishna is saying Vaishya Karma Svabhavajam, Krishna is saying out of your own nature, you are inspired or you like to engage in certain kind of activity. So, for a businessman, what are the activities which he likes to do by his own nature, which is allowed for him to do? Krishi, Goraksha, Vanijya. This is how we have to understand. So, according to the context, we have to understand the meaning of the word karma that is being used. Is that okay? Any other question? Yes, please.
Actually, I didn't understand that you told karma. So, that you told that this person have to this, or he liked this, that's why he is Vaishya. He liked this, he did it, that's why he is Brahman. Like that, or how will you distinguish that this is looking this is Brahman, this is do like that? How will you understand?
Okay, so how do we distinguish who is the Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra? Right? So now what happens is, there are certain duties which are prescribed in the Shastras for a Brahmana. What are the qualities of what are the qualities a Brahmana should possess, and what are the activities he can engage in? There are 6 kinds of activities for a Brahmana: Dana, Pratigraha, and what is that? Patan, Yajan, Yajan, Dana, Pratigraha. He has to learn and he has to teach. His primary engagement is to acquire knowledge and to spread that knowledge. And this knowledge may refer to many departments of knowledge. It may refer to knowledge of the medical science, Ayurveda, the knowledge of Jyotirveda, the knowledge of Dhanurveda, the art of warfare, diplomacy, etc., politics, how to conduct. So, all departments of knowledge, anybody whose activity is to acquire knowledge and to share that knowledge freely with others. And Patan, Yajan, Yajan, he engages in sacrifices as prescribed in the Shastras, and also engages others also in performing the sacrifices. And Dana Pratigraha, he gives Dana, charity, and he accepts charity also. So Brahmana has all these activities, and there are qualities also. Satyam, Shaucham, Kshama, Daya. The qualities of a Brahmana are, he will always speak the truth. Even to his enemy, he will not tell lies. He will tell the truth. If you give the the key of your cash box to a Brahmana, and your enemy comes and asks him how much money is there in the box, he will tell the truth. He will not tell a lie. So it is very dangerous to engage in a Brahmana in taking care of your finances. Because even to the enemy, he will not tell a lie. Whereas a Kshatriya and a Vaishya engage in diplomacy. They will see, okay, this man is my enemy, I should not tell him the truth. So enemy comes and asks, he will tell why I should tell you. And the Vaishyas will always keep a trade secret. This is my trade secret, this is my formula. Pepsi has got his formula, they will not reveal to anyone else. But Brahmana is not like that. Whatever knowledge he has, he will freely share it with everyone. Just like we see Dronacharya. Dronacharya, he had some quarrel with Drupada Maharaj. Some issue was there, so they had a quarrel. Now that quarrel escalated so much that Drupada Maharaj wanted to kill Dronacharya. But then Drupada was not powerful enough to fight with Dronacharya. Dronacharya was too powerful. So if Drupada were to go and fight with him in a battle, Drupada would get defeated, 100% sure. So what Drupada did, he conducted a fire sacrifice with a specific desire to get a son who would be powerful enough to kill Dronacharya. And so he did that fire sacrifice, and from that came Drishtadyumna. And Draupadi also came from that. So this Drishtadyumna, when he grew up, now he had to be, because he was a Kshatriya, he has to be taught the art of archery and warfare. Now at that point of time, there was no better teacher of the art of warfare, Dhanurveda, than Dronacharya on this planet. So what Drupada did, he told Drishtadyumna that you go and learn archery from Dronacharya. So Drishtadyumna came to Dronacharya, and because he is a junior, he introduced himself. O Dronacharya, I am Drishtadyumna, the son of Drupada, born to kill you. So Dronacharya also blessed him. Okay, long live my son. Please tell me, what have you come to me for? He said, I come to learn the art of archery from you. Now if somebody comes and tells you, I come to learn this, I know that you are a great professor of this, so-and-so subject. I want to learn this from you so that I can kill you. What will you do? First you will search, where is some knife or gun so that I can finish this guy. So, but then you look at the reaction of Dronacharya. Dronacharya said, my duty as a Brahmana is patan. Whatever knowledge I have to share. I cannot, if some qualified candidate comes to me, I cannot refuse. I see that you are qualified in every way and you will use the knowledge very nicely to protect the citizens. Therefore, Dronacharya said, yes, come, I will teach you. And Dronacharya taught him. Without any reservation, without any bias, he taught him whatever he was capable of learning, he taught him. So, this is the quality of a Brahmana. He will not differentiate, this is my enemy, this is my friend, and therefore to my enemy I will act inimically. None of those things. Whatever knowledge is there, free to share. So, similarly, like that Kshatriya has some qualities and he has some duties to perform. The activities which are ordained for a Kshatriya to collect taxes from the citizens, and he has to protect them from all kinds of dangers and physical and mental harm. This is the duty of a Kshatriya. A Vaishya is to take care, the duty of a Vaishya is to take care of all the economic development of the society and ensure that the wealth is distributed equally. So these are all the different duties, and there are certain qualities also. Like for example, a Kshatriya. Quality of a Kshatriya is, he will yuddhe chapalayanam, he will never turn away from a battle or a challenge. Even if he is on the verge of losing his life, he will not turn away. He will give up his life on the battlefield, but he will not turn away. So that's a quality of a Kshatriya. So every one of these varnas, for a person to fit into that varna, there are certain qualities and there are certain duties. And when we are born with certain inclinations and certain likings and dislikings. That's the nature. Why? Because we are all controlled by the three modes of material nature. Sattoguna, Rajoguna and Tamoguna. Different combinations of Sattoguna, Rajoguna and Tamoguna. Those who are very high in Sattoguna, they become Brahmanas. They are intellectuals. They like to, what attracts them is discovering some new piece of knowledge. Knowledge, I want to know how this world works. We have many people, you would have all friends. Some friends, very intelligent, very sharp. He does not want to go and become a businessman or become an MD, CEO of some company. He is not interested in all that. He will not even go for your campus interviews. He will say, no, yaar, I want to do my ME, I want to do my PhD, and I want to do research, I want to become a scientist. So, there are some people for whom intellectual, there is an intellectual quest in them. I want to know. That knowing gives them a sense of satisfaction. Then you will see there are some friends who will go, they will fight in the college elections, and they will become secretary, president, and whenever there is some little scuffle, they'll take the hockey stick and come running. Hey, who hit my friend? There are people like that also. I had a friend in college, he was from Kurukshetra. I don't know, any of you are from North India? Some of you, if you are from North India, you'll know. He was a Haryanvi. So he said, in our Haryana, in Kurukshetra, there are these guys who are called these Jats. These Jats are very, they are very aggressive people. So he was telling us, at that time, I was studying in Bangalore, I had never gone to the north. So first time I'm hearing from him. Many of my friends also, we are all hearing from him for the first time. So he was explaining, what Jats are? I will explain to you what Jats are. So you look at some guy, if you have a Jat friend with you, you look at some guy and tell your friend, go and beat him. He'll go and nicely punch him, pummel him, beat him to the ground, and then he will come, and after coming back, he will ask you, why did you tell me to beat him? So he said, that is a Jat. So there are some people like that, very, very strongly aggressive, and these people, and you also have examples of these soldiers. We hear of so many soldiers who give up their life in the Kargil war, and whenever there was a Pakistan war with Pakistan, they went to the war front, and they voluntarily, they knew that they are going to die, but they didn't bother. They just went ahead and fought and gave up their life to protect their country. So for them, their life doesn't matter. What matters to them is fighting for my country, protecting my fellow citizens. That is what gives them satisfaction. Such people are called Kshatriyas. Their inclination is like that. They are born with that. So they are highly controlled by Rajoguna. They are more in Rajoguna. And so that Rajoguna, that mode of passion, that drives them to take risks even at the cost of their lives. That gives them that honor, that respect. That is what motivates them. Then there are other kinds of people. You will see for them, money, sweeter than honey. They are very good at, keeping accounting, and even 10 rupees also is given you. After 10 years also you'll remember, my 10 rupees you still owe me. Some of us, we give freely money out to other friends, we'll forget to whom I gave, how much we don't remember. But this guy, every paisa you will remember. Such guys are very good in numbers, and they will go on to become BCom, CA, and all these kind of guys. So these people, they are Vaisyas because they like the cash paper counting in their hands. They feel great satisfaction. Sitting and bundles of notes, if they are counting whole day, they will feel satisfied. Someday bundle of note has not come in my hand, he cannot sleep that night. Some people are like that. So these are Vaisyas. These Vaisyas have a great inclination and great propensity to accumulate money. They are constantly making plans, how to make this startup, how to increase my revenues, how to get new funding. Their whole mind is revolving around money. They are very good at that. These people become entrepreneurs, they become big businessmen, etc. So these are called Vaisyas. So these are all inbuilt. Vaisyas are controlled more by a combination of Rajoguna and Tamoguna. And there are some people, you all know, your friends, there will be, no matter what happens, they will always be in the hostel room sleeping. Tomorrow exam, are yaar, sone do. You go to the exam hall, he'll be sitting there and sleeping. For him, sleep is the biggest thing in life. And you tell him, what are you going to do in future? Arey, jo hota hai dekha jayega yaar. Now, eat, drink and be merry. For him, going to the pub or to the bar, drinking, watching movies, this is life. He is not bothered about his future. He is not interested in making money. He is not interested in anything else. He does not want to become a scientist and all. Somehow or the other, pass the exam. The previous day of the exam, he will be roaming around. He somewhere has the question paper leaked. that is what he will be doing. While others are sitting hard and studying, he will be searching where is question paper leaking. So there are people like that also. They are totally controlled by tamoguna. So you see how, according to the modes of material nature, there are we have different inclination, different propensities, and according to that, the Vedas, they understand that everybody has a certain natural inclination or propensity according to the mode of material nature which is controlling him, Rajoguna, Satoguna or Tamoguna. Accordingly, there are duties prescribed where by performing those he will feel satisfaction. So in the olden ages, what used to happen was, everyone, a Brahmana, Kshatriya or a Vaishya, they would be, when they would reach 5 years of age, they would be sent to a Gurukula. There the Guru will see the boys' natural tendencies. Accordingly, he will teach them. If he is a Kshatriya, then he will focus on teaching them Dhanurveda. If he is a Brahmana, he will give him all knowledge of the Upanishads, Vedanta Sutras, etc. And somebody is more interested in he is like a Vaishya, he will teach him more of Artha Shastra. Although, of course, all of them would get the knowledge about, I am not the body, I am spirit soul, and the Supreme Lord is Krishna, Vishnu, Narayana has to be satisfied. That basic knowledge would be given. But then, according to your natural inclination, you would specialize. Artha Shastra for a Vaishya, for a Kshatriya, Dhanurveda, and for Brahmana, it will be study of the Vedas and Vedanta Sutras. So like this, people, according to their natural inclination, they would be engaged in those respective things. And when a person has that inner nature is like that, for him to be engaged in that respective varna gives great satisfaction. That is how it is. If for example, a soldier is there, he likes to go and fight for the country. And, the enemy country is attacking. At that time, you tell him, don't do this. You go and run a business. He will not be able to sleep. He will say, "Arey, enemy is attacking my country. You are telling me to do business. Arey, forget it, yaar. I am going." So the natural inclination that is there innate in a person's heart, you have to engage him in that activity. So he will be peaceful. He will be happy. This is recognized in the Vedas, and that's how the division of the Varnas, Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra is done. Krishna also says in the Bhagavad Gita, Chatur Varnyam Maya Srishnam Guna Karma Vibhagasaha. According to Guna and Karma, according to their qualities and activities, the 4 divisions of the Varnas are created. But unfortunately, in Kali Yuga, what has happened? That whole Varnashrama system has got corrupted, and now we know people as a Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya and Shudra according to the family in which he is born. Somebody will come and tell you, I am a Brahmana. So what do you do, sir? I am engaging in business. I am a big contractor. So, you are Brahmana. If you look at the duties and qualities of a Brahmana, Brahmana is never supposed to become a contractor and earn money. Brahmana is a person, today whatever money he gets in charity, he will not keep it for the next day. He will not create a bank balance. What he will do? The moment, within today, whatever money he has got, he will spend it off. He will not keep it. He will give it in charity to somebody else if he has excess money today. Tomorrow, start with a clean slate. 0 bank account. He will start tomorrow. Every day he will start with 0, end with 0. In between whatever money comes, he will use it for little bit whatever is required for his livelihood. Rest he will spend for spreading knowledge of Krishna. So, in Kali Yuga, what happens is, unfortunately, the whole Varnashrama system has got corrupted. So, a person calls himself a Brahmana or a Kshatriya or a Vaishya, but then his activities are all completely different. So, we have to know that a person is a Brahmana, Kshatriya or a Vaishya or a Shudra, not based on the birth of, not based on his birth in a particular family, but according to his guna and karma, according to his qualities and his activities. That is how the Shastras explain. Is that okay? So, one more last question. Anybody has? Yes, please. Can you please pass on the mic?
Prabhu, in Bhagavad Gita, Lord Krishna is saying, Karmanya badhika raste ma phalesu kadachana, ma karma phala hetuhu, mate sangastu akarmani.
Yes.
What is the meaning of akarma here?
So there, in that context, what Krishna is saying is that when Krishna is saying, karmanyevadikaraste ma phaleshu katachana, Krishna said, you have right to perform your duty, but don't desire to enjoy the fruits of your activity. So, now the question comes, the motivation for all of us to do our activity is what? The result. Isn't it? Suppose you are told, you go to this engineering college, you want to become an engineer, you desire to become an engineer. Somebody recommends you go to this engineering college, very good college. They've got very good professors, they'll teach you, they got very good facilities of lab and all these kind of things. So naturally, first thing what you will ask is, oh, is that so? So at the end of the 4th year, which are all the companies coming for campus interview? No companies come for campus interview. They don't have that system also at all. Acha, is that so? So how many rank holders are there? You are saying very good college. No. They don't. You will not get any certificate or degree or anything like that by going to that college. You will get knowledge of engineering. That's all. No degree. You will not get any ranking. You will not be considered part of the university. None of those things. Those are not part of the university. What will you do? Will you go to that college? You'll say, Baba, why should I go? I'm not getting anything by going there. Why should I go? I'm not getting even one certificate also I'm not getting. No campus interview. Nothing I'm getting. Why should I go there? So, for all of us, what motivates us to engage in activity is what? What result I'm going to get. On the other hand, somebody tells you, this college is there, dabba infrastructure, the teachers are all bekar, they don't give any proper knowledge, all the lab and all is falling apart, but the campus interviews are wonderful. Every year the best companies come there and they give the biggest packages. What you will do? Acha, then I'll go there. Studying will somehow or the other, will manage somehow or the other. So, even if you don't have a facility, you will see the result and you will jump. So, what motivates all of us to engage in activity is result. Now, the moment Krishna said you have a right to perform your duty, but don't expect the result. Don't bother about the result. Then what happens is, all your motivation will become like a punctured tire. No more motivation. Why should I work here? Krishna is telling you don't worry, the result you should give up. Why should I work then? So Krishna says, don't, ma karma phala hetuhu bhurma te sangostu akarmani. But thinking that the result is not coming to me, so why should I work? Let me not work at all. Don't be like that. So Krishna, in the next verse also Krishna says that Sharira yatrapi taye na prasiddhyer akarmanaha. If you don't do any activity and sit idly, what is there? Anyway, result is not going to come to me. So let me sit at home, munch some chips and watch TV and watch Netflix or whatever is the latest thing. If you think like that, Krishna said, you will not even be able to maintain your own body. What will you eat? Even for watching that Netflix and to eat that chips, you need money. So where will you get that money from if you don't do a job? So Krishna is saying, although the result is not coming to you, so because of that result not coming to you, because you have given up the desire for the result, don't get into the other extreme saying that when I have given up the result, let me not do any activity also. You are obliged to perform your duty, do your duty. Don't bother about the result. Again, the same example, brilliant example of Dronacharya. Dronacharya, if he had considered that what is the result of my doing my duty? Patan, I have to teach. Now, what is the result of my teaching Drishtadyumna? Result is I will get killed. So, you look at the result. It is an adverse result. So, why should I engage in this? Let me give up this. No. Ma karma phala hetuhu bhurmate sangosva karmani. Karma phala hetu. Give up your desire for the result. So, Dronacharya did not bother about the result. He thought, what is my duty to perform? Let me do that. Result, whether I get a good result or bad result, forget it. I have to perform my duty, I'll do my duty. So, this is what Krishna is saying. Krishna is saying, don't become inactive just because you are not getting the result of your duty. Whether the result is beneficial or it is adverse, your duty is to perform your duty. That's all. Don't bother about the result. So that is what Krishna is saying. So that is how we have to understand the use of the word akarma in that context of that verse. Is that okay? So we got 5 more minutes. Anybody else? Yes.
Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
You gave an example that a Kshatriya is not afraid of fighting the war. There are some people who are fearless. They are not afraid to give up their lives also.
Yes.
So what is the difference in their fearlessness and the fearlessness of a devotee who is also not afraid of death?
So when a Kshatriya is fearless and a devotee is also fearless, Narayana Paraha na kutaschana bibhyati. Those who are devotees of Narayana, Krishna, they are also not afraid of anything. Whereas a Kshatriya, normal Kshatriya also is not afraid of death. So what is the difference between the fearlessness of the two? So the fearlessness of a Kshatriya arises from the understanding that if I die in a battle, I will go to Swarga. So I'll get a good birth in my next life. So he is not worried. And if I don't die, if I win in the battle, I will enjoy the whole kingdom. As Krishna also exhorts Arjuna in the Bhagavad Gita in the 2nd chapter, Krishna says that, why are you refusing to fight? You fight. If you fight, either of two results will happen. Either you will get defeated and killed, or you will kill the others and you will conquer them. So if you conquer them, you get the whole world to rule over. And if you get killed in the battle, you will go to Swarga. So what's the problem? You are not losing anything. So therefore, when a Kshatriya looks at it like this, he becomes fearless. He is not afraid because he knows next life anyway, even if I get killed, next life I'll go to Swarga. Now for a devotee, why is Narayana Paraha na kutaschana bibhyati? Why a devotee is unafraid of anything? Because he knows very well that Krishna is my protector. His fearlessness is coming from a different angle. Just like a small child is there. Small child will be running here and there. He sees something and somebody comes to beat him. He gets afraid. What he will do? He will run to his father. And when he is standing next to his father, he will lose all his fear. My father is there, he will take care of me. So, of course, in the material world, the fathers are also limited in their ability to protect their children. But Krishna is an all-powerful person. There is nothing which he cannot do. There is nothing which can overcome him. There is nothing which is not in his powers. So a devotee knows that my Supreme Lord, Krishna, is there constantly with me. So as long as Krishna is with me, for me, no fear. Because a devotee is completely out of the bodily concept of life. And a devotee knows very well, even if somebody comes and kills me, what is their body only is getting destroyed. And if I am able to remember Krishna and quit my body, then I go back to Godhead. So my next life is not even in Swarga. I am going back to Godhead where no more birth and death. That is why you will see Kulasekara Alvar also, what he prays, he submits his prayers to Krishna in the Mukundamala Stotra. So whenever we pray to Krishna or to any of the Devatas, we go and pray. What do we pray? Oh God, please protect me. Please take care of my family. COVID should not attack me. Even if it attacks me, I should not get admitted to the hospital. Nothing should happen to my relatives. I should not get killed, etc., right? We pray for protection. Nobody wants to, nobody goes and prays, oh God, I will break 108 coconuts for you. If I get COVID and I die, will any of us do that? Nobody will do, right? So you will break coconuts if you survive. That's how it is. But you look at Mukunda Mala Stotra, where Kulasekara Alvar, he is praying to Krishna. Krishna Tvadiya Padapankaja Panjarantam Adyaiva Vishatume Manasa Rajaha Prana Prayana Samaye Kafavata Pittair Smaranam Kutaste. He says that today itself let death come to me and let my let the swan of my mind, being entangled in the lotus stems of remembrance of your lotus feet, let me quit my body today itself. Mukunda, Kulasekar Alvar is praying, today itself, oh Krishna, please, I should die. Why is he praying for death? Has he gone mad or something? No, he says, prana prayana samaye kafavata pittaihi kantavarodana vidau smaranam kutaste. If I live for a long period of time and I become old and then I die, what will happen is at the time of death, kantavarodana vidaha. What happens is when a person dies, all the kapha and all will accumulate in the throat. And at that person, even the person wants to call out, he wants to scream, he wants to call out anybody, only gala 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 sound will come from the throat. No sound will come. So at that time, because of the pain in the body, because see, nobody quits their body, right? Nobody, even though my hand get cut, my leg get cut, nobody wants to die. Why? Because our body is so dear to us. But then at the point of death, the pain in the body becomes so intense that we have no option but to leave the body. So when that pain is so intense that you are quitting this body, you can imagine that. Today, even if somebody comes and give you $100 crore and tells you, I'll give you $100 crore, you die. Will you die? You'll say, Hare Baba, no, you keep your money to yourself. I'll be a beggar, but I will live. Let me live. So, no, even in the greatest difficulty, we don't want to die. But can you imagine the kind of pain we have to undergo to come to the situation that, okay, let me die. No, it happens with some people. They go and commit suicide. Who commits suicide? When they are unable to bear the pain. The pain, it may be a mental pain or it may be a bodily pain, whatever it is. When that distress becomes too much unbearable, they think of quitting the body. So, for every person, when the time of death comes, the pain is unbearable that he has to quit the body. So, he is saying, Kulasekar Alvar is saying, prana prayana samaye kafavata pittai kantavarodana vidau. When that kantha, when your throat is getting choked with kapha and all these things, you are not able to call out and your whole mental functions are deranged because of the intense pain. When intense pain is there, you cannot focus on anything, you cannot remember anything, you cannot think of whatever you want. The pain is so intense, you get absorbed in that pain, your whole mental faculties get deranged. So, smaranam kutaste, where can I remember you? Whereas now, my mind is in proper situation, I'm peaceful, I'm able to remember you. So, while I'm remembering you, please, let me die. Why? Because yam yam vapi smaran bhavam tyajatyante kalevaram tam tameva iti kaunteya sada tad bhava bhavitaha. Krishna says, whatever we remember at the point of death, we will attain that without fail. So, Kulasekar Alvar is praying that if I am able to die thinking of you, I will eternally be serving you and your lotus feet. I will never forget you. So, a devotee, he is not, death is also welcome to a devotee. The devotee is never afraid of death because at the point of, if death comes, then you can remember Krishna, quit your body and go back to God. No more birth and death within this material world. So devotee is never afraid of death. Devotee knows very well that this body is just like a dress. Today if my kurta gets torn, I'll remove it, throw it and stitch a new kurta. I will not get afraid, oh, my kurta has got torn, I have to give up my kurta. Will I get afraid? I will not get afraid. Because I know after all kurta is going, I am not going, no. So similarly, this body is also vasamsi jirnani yatha vihaya navani gridnati naroparani. Krishna says, this body is also like a dress. Today I am occupying this dress, tomorrow I will have some other dress. So devotee very well knows this. And so when the body is destroyed, he is least affected. So the fearlessness of a devotee comes from a different angle. Because of the protection of Krishna and because of the knowledge that he is not the body, he is spirit soul, and his next destination is going to be back to Godhead at the lotus feet of Krishna to be eternally serving him in Ananda, bliss. So why would a devotee be afraid? So that's where the fearlessness of a devotee stems from. Is that okay? We'll stop here. Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Shri Gaur Nitai ki jai, Shri Krishna Balaram ki jai, Nitai Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Bol.